Hey guys, Cameron here. Doing another video, this time talking about another kind of cool niche gun in my collection that I think fits a couple of broad but also unique scenarios that you can come up when you're LARPing in your head, bored at work or whatever, and even when you're not LARPing, when you're out in the woods, just walking around, maybe doing some hunting or hiking or whatever you like to do in the woods. That's going to be a 1022 build that I have, that I put together myself and has custom parts throughout and fits a couple of very specific purposes, but I'll go into that throughout the video and show you how it shoots. Obviously it's going to be super light since it's a 1022, and then as well as some of the accessories I have on it and the thought that went into that and how I use them. And maybe we can give you some inspiration on a similar build that you may want to do in the future, or something like this but you put your own slight variation on it. That's really my main objective here. One, to inspire you to maybe do something like this if it's something you think would be cool, and two, show how this tool fits into my toolkit. So when we talk about 22 long rifle, what are we getting at with a cartridge like that? Obviously you've heard it all. Quantity is a big thing. Hold a lot of rounds in a really small spot. And that is a huge advantage. Two, it's quiet, super quiet. And if you're LARPing in any sort of SHTF scenario or grid down scenario, you don't want a loud firearm for a multitude of reasons. You want something that stays really quiet and won't alert anyone in the surrounding vicinity that rounds have gone off. In tandem to that, hunting. I personally do a ton of squirrel hunting. It's super useful to have a suppressor on a 22 when you're squirrel hunting. Allows follow-up shots, and it's just more pleasant to shoot, especially on shorter barrels. On this particular 1022, we have a 4.5-inch barrel from Beyer Barrels. Highly recommend his barrels. He's super good customer service and high quality. And then we have the silencer Co Spectre 2 suppressor, discontinued. They moved on to the Switchback 22, but this is a fantastic suppressor, super stuff, all stainless steel. And with this 4.5-inch barrel, almost all ammo we shoot is going to come out subsonic. So couple that with a suppressor and you have a very quiet platform. So I'll go ahead and shoot a couple rounds down into my berm here, and you can get a feel for how quiet this is, even with a 4.5-inch barrel, which would have your ears ringing without a suppressor. We're shooting CCI standard velocity, which is pretty quiet ammo to begin with. So super quiet, no one within, beyond 50 yards, 100 yards is going to, unless they know what they're hearing, they're not going to really know what it is. So that's a huge advantage in a lot of situations. Obviously, when you're trying to keep a low profile, that's going to be really useful. And you heard how quiet that was. I'm not wearing ear pro. You've heard it time and time again. Suppress 22 is quiet, so I'm not going to harp on that too much. But having that 4.5-inch barrel keeps this package also super tiny, especially with the folding brace. This is something that easily fits into a backpack. It's about as long as my fingertips to where my elbow begins. So you can fit this in a backpack super easily while you're hiking, walking through the woods, or you can strap it to your chest with a single point sling, which I do all the time, and just kind of wrap it around your back. Whenever you want to access it, you can just throw it out and you're ready to do whatever you want to do. In terms of reliability, I know a lot of people harp on 22 is unreliable, and it is compared to centerfire cartridges, especially high-powered centerfire cartridges. But with quality components and quality ammo, I rarely get a malfunction out of this as long as I keep it dry lubed and there's not a ton. Like I clean at least every 1,000 rounds. I rarely get an issue with this platform. So to me, reliability is not too much of a factor with at least my personal build, but that's something to keep in mind with your build and how you plan to use it. Is reliability super duper important? If it is, then maybe you want to upgrade to some more premium components. And then I have, last thing I'll touch on in terms of what I have on here is a TLR-VIR2 white light, IR laser, and IR illuminator. Because I do use this at night. I do a lot of wood walking and hiking at night with NVGs. So I like having, you know, if I'm walking through the woods with this, I like having that capability to identify things that I see walking through the woods or out in fields, and then also, you know, maybe blink at some trees or whatever with the IR laser. And of course I do have the white light capabilities, and I do have the new Villain Weapon Systems EFL focusing lens on the TLR-VIR2. But I want that, I'll do another video on that sometime. But yeah, that's the overall build. Just got a 10 round mag in here right now. Of course you can switch it out to, if I can find it, there it is. Switch it out to something a little more high capacity, as they like to call it. 15 rounder. I don't really mess with the 25 rounders, just due to reliability, but yeah. So you got some magazine options there. So I'm gonna do a little shooting with it and show you, continue to talk about where I think it fits into somebody's toolkit, and then some of its capabilities and maybe lack thereof. So one thing I always joke about with my friends and buddies I shoot with is I feel pretty capable with the 10-22 in my hands. If someone were coming to do harm to me or break into my house or do something terrible, a 10-22 can do a lot, especially with quality ammo like Federal Punch or CCI Stingers. Now we're talking about 10-22, or excuse me, just 22s in general here, so I'm gonna hype it up a little bit. Then maybe I'm gonna hype it up a little bit more than maybe than I would do if I was just talking about something else. But I can get 10 rounds on like a 33% IPSIT target here from like 20 yards in an extremely fast amount of time, and that's gonna do, that's significant in terms of firepower. So I'm gonna show you that real quick. And again, I am below average shooter. So I think 9 out of 10 hits in not a lot of time, and on a 33% IPSIT target like that, I could not do that with an AR-15 from that distance. Granted, a single round from an AR-15 is going to do a lot more damage, but if I'm with somebody who never shoots, never trains, never fires guns, to be honest, I'd feel a lot more confident in them being capable in something like this than like a 9mm handgun or a full-size AR-15, because I know they'll be able to keep this on target and do follow-up shots very quickly. So as a defensive tool, ideal? No. Usable? In my opinion, definitely. Shot placement is super consistent. Follow-up shot placement with something like 22 is super easy. All right, about 167 yards here, range. Use the rangefinder to confirm that. Gonna do 10 rounds on a tiny for this distance with this setup. Target a 33% IPSEC, 4.5-inch barrel, and a 6x magnification on this LBVO. So let's see out of 10 how many impacts I can go ahead and make. I'm gonna have to hold pretty dang high. We're at an elevation here. Miss. 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 Kind of found it there at the end, so I'm gonna throw in another 5 rounds super quick here. See if I can dial it in. Hit. Hit. Okay, all right, so once you kind of understand your holds, it's not too hard to make impacts. All right, now we're gonna shoot from 110 yards, 115 yards, and I'll show you how much easier that is than the 167 up there. So at this distance, you can make impacts consistently. And again, that's a 33% IPSEC target out there, so by no means like something big I'm shooting at. So it's at 110, 115 yards. You make that shot all day. So maybe we can do some final thoughts. Just talk a bit. This is not something that would replace an AR or something, a fighting rifle, obviously. But this does have its use. I mean, you can see here, if I wanted to do some sort of recon mission, that's super LARPy. I could do that with something like this. I can keep it super concealed. You know, even as I just walk through the woods with this, a single point sling, if I'm squirrel hunting, you know, if you wanted to, some SHTF scenario, you're squirrel hunting, this is, you know, you just be walking through the woods with this and maybe have a sweater over or a coat, or, you know, just hold it like this and it's going to be super comfortable. And then, you know, super quick deployment, super quiet. accurate. I mean, out to 100 yards, definitely. And you can hit stuff out to 200. You know, maybe with a longer barrel, even farther. But so it's just a great all-around tool if you don't want to have to, if you don't need something super high powered, but you still want to have some capability. You don't want to feel naked. Obviously, a handgun can take that role, but with a handgun, very loud, can't carry as much ammo, and those are two huge things if you're going to be doing. Oh, and you can't shoulder it. So you get that extra capability with this. So yeah, I don't know. It's something, you know, as I'm bored and I LARP in my head, this does have its place. And it definitely has its place in a just having fun type role. Like I probably shoot this gun. It's probably like my top 3 most shotguns. And it looks pretty cool. This is a very expensive build, but you can get away with doing something kind of similar for a lot cheaper. Yes, I'm not gonna get into the SBR type bullshit. You do what you want, but you can do this with a 16-inch barrel just as easy. It's not gonna be as obviously compact, but you can get a lot of that same functionality out. So yeah, there's so many resources out there on 1022s. Join the subreddit, 1022 subreddit, and just browse different sites, because beyond an AR-15, there's really nothing more you can customize more than a 1022. So you can really make it exactly what you want and fill whatever niche you're trying to fill. And I'm a big proponent of that, filling niches. So yeah, that's my Enoch Industries chassis 1022 with a whole bunch of cool stuff on it. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them below, and yeah, maybe I'll do a follow-up video sometime soon on it, or I definitely am going to be doing a video on this EFL cap for the TLRBIR2. So if anyone's out there interested in night vision, that'll probably be something that you'll want to watch. So yeah, thanks for watching. This is Cameron out.